What's up guys, it's Jake with Untitled, coming at you with another special video. Today, we're sort of doing like a wrap-up final review of the Shadow Systems MR920. Wanted just to kind of do a follow-up video. We did do an initial first shots video on this particular gun, but I wanted to kind of do sort of like a final review, sort of like, hey, we've had it for a while, well in this case 6 months. How do we still feel about it? We've put a lot of rounds down range with it. We've been actually using it as our everyday carry. We've also been using it as a sort of like a bedside gun as well. Just kind of wanted to give you my thoughts and impressions on it with all these things to consider, and just let you know if it's right for you. For Range Officer Randy there, we are unloaded and clear, all that good stuff. Really all the Shadow Systems firearms are sort of like an upgrade of what's essentially aftermarket Glocks. They make everything in-house, which is very nice. A lot of times when you're looking at getting a Glock and then putting in aftermarket parts, trigger, springs, and all that good stuff, you usually run into a lot of issues where sometimes things don't quite line up right, or the tolerances are a little bit off, and they don't really function correctly to where you can't really rely on it as an everyday carry firearm. I've had a lot of experience with that, which is why I wanted to get one of these. They do a lot of stuff on the inside that make it a much better experience than a typical stock Glock. Starting with the trigger, you know, we've talked about before, I'm kind of a bit of a trigger snob. The trigger on the Shadow Systems MR920 is phenomenal for what it is. Is it the best trigger you can get? No, but it is their in-house trigger. So you've got your little safety hinge there, pull that, kind of a stiff boy there, then the reset, back forward, a little bit of a push, and then you pull again. Feels really good. It feels really, really nice. Compared to a stock Glock trigger, it's a huge improvement. This is still everything factory. I haven't even polished the internal stuff, connectors and all that yet. I haven't done any of that stuff. I've just been carrying this, shooting this as just stock configuration, except for the added Trigicon RMR up top there, of course. Now, as we talked about in previous videos, it also does come with a tritium front night sight and a blacked out rear sight. Really nice for using at nighttime. Of course, you've got your rail there, so you can put lights and lasers and coffee makers and all that shit on there. Comes with a thread barrel from the factory. Again, very nice. I did have to put a little blue Loctite on that cap there because it kept coming off as I was testing it in my first video. You got some good cuts here as well, very thin handguard, very good stippling back here, all through the sides, the back, the front. The back actually has panels that comes out. I actually am still using the original panel that it came with. I've not swapped it out because it just feels right with the lore for me. But if you've got bigger hands, they have fatter panels there for you, and so on. Smaller hands, smaller panels too, I think, maybe. This is a typical Glock 19. Check out the beaver tail action. That's not happening there. Here is your beaver tail on the MR920. So very nice. It does help make a difference with dealing with that recoil. Stock Glock, again, stock Glock with night sights. And this is what they give you right out of the factory. So much different. Very, very nice. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details. How do I feel about this as an everyday carry? I think it's awesome. It's been 100% reliable for me. After our first couple of shots, we had a little bit of a tiny break-in period with like a couple mags. But other than that, we've not really had any issue as far as running this thing goes. With their patented mounting system there, you can basically put any red dot you want. I've got the Trigicon, Tritium, and Fiber Optic on there. But you can put anything, Holosun, Vortex, and they should all fit because they give these little pieces back here to make them fit for you. As an everyday carry, keeping everything stock as it is, I think this is an awesome choice. We're not calling this a 1,000 round review because I'm not exactly sure if we put in exactly 1,000 rounds. So I'm just calling this a long-term review. But so far, it's been a great everyday carry. But if you like Glock 19s, I think that you'll enjoy this. If you don't like Glock 19s, whether it be because of the feel or the trigger pull, I think you still might like this because of all the stippling and the rounded edges and the improved trigger of what you actually get from a stock Glock. That being said, it may not be for everybody because it does come at a little bit of a higher price point. I think this one was roughly about 600 bucks. Maybe 650. I can't remember exactly how much my wife paid because again, it was a Christmas gift. It's a little bit more expensive. However, it's also going to be a little bit smoother with the parts they put in there than what you get from a stock Glock. If the idea of having an upgraded everyday carry from a stock Glock is something you're interested in and you're worried about affecting reliability with aftermarket parts, I think this is a good choice for you. I think this is the choice for the person like me who wants to have an improved trigger but doesn't want to mess up with screwing up the connectors and springs and stuff. but that's just me with my experience. You may decide that something else is better. You may decide that you are more confident with putting in reliable adjustments into the internals of your Glock. That's just something that has plagued me since I first got into firearms. I've never been able to run aftermarket Glock parts in my everyday carry without having an issue. Except for the Glock performance trigger that just came out for Gen 5s. That's a separate thing. We'll cover that one later. That being said, it does have a slight different angle grip to it. This is more of a 1911 style angle from the slide versus this one. With a Glock handgun, you're kind of almost like doing that right there, where you're kind of like, feel like you're pushing it forward, your wrist forward like that in order to line up the sights. And that's kind of caught me off guard, because every time I've been using this one, it's like, oh, I'm down too low, you see. I've got to pull it up just a little bit. So I want to go like that, but it's just a little bit too much. This is especially notable when you compare this to a Glock 47, AKA Gen 5 Glock 17. Granted, a little bit longer on the actual grip, obviously being a full size versus a compact. It's a slight difference, but it's enough to tell where if you're used to Glocks and you're actually used to lining up those red dots from a low ready position and just getting it there, it's a slight difference. Long story short though, if you can get past that one little difference, that one little discrepancy, you'll be all right. If you don't use a red dot with this, which I don't know why you wouldn't use a red dot, but let's say you want to stick with front rear sights, then you'll never have that problem with trying to line up the red dot quickly. It won't be an issue for you. All in all though, I gotta say I really, really like it. It's been a very fun gun to shoot. We've had a good time with it. Me being a bigger fella, it's a little bit hard to everyday carry with the RMR on top there, but that's my problem and not really a gun problem. But all in all, it's a good choice to get if you want to get one. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Remember, if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. Have you picked up a Shadow Systems pistol like this one? Love to hear from you. We will see you next time. You've got a very nice beaver tail there. This is a typical, is that loaded? Whatever.